All right, in today's explainer, we're doing something a little bit unexpected. We are unpacking a remarkably short, yet really profound mindfulness text from a source called Guided by 369. But, and here's the catch, we aren't just reading this as some nice daily affirmation. We're actually going to examine its direct, strategic application for high-octane leaders. Look, if you're a decision maker, an executive, or just operating in a high-pressure environment, you know the conventional playbook. It tells you to go faster, push harder, and literally never stop. But the source material we're diving into today flips that script completely. It offers a blueprint for executive clarity that actually begins not with acceleration, but with a highly intentional strategic halt. So let's break down the actual mechanics of this clarity. Right out of the gate, it gives us this immediate directive: take a deep breath and be fully present for this moment. Now, I want to deliver that instruction slowly because it's meant to be a pattern interrupt. For the driven professional, taking a breath and being present, that's not just a calming exercise. It's a vital tactical maneuver. Think about it. When you're moving at breakneck speed, jumping from meeting to meeting, putting out fires, your brain gets locked into this reactive state. This opening line essentially demands that you step out of that cycle. By telling you to be fully present, it's commanding you to stop living in next quarter's projections or stressing over yesterday's operational hiccups. It forces your focus into the right now, which, honestly, is the only place where true strategic clarity can actually be forged. And then it hits you with this. Are you searching for answers or waiting for a sign? I love this because it directly addresses that internal, sometimes quiet search for strategic direction. When you're operating at high stakes, the pressure to just have all the answers is immense, right? You're constantly scanning the horizon for data, looking for a sign that you made the right call, or wondering if your current strategy is even sound. This recognizes that underlying executive anxiety. It validates that searching and waiting are completely universal parts of the leadership journey. It's telling you, hey, if you're questioning your path right now, you're not failing. You're just in the critical phase of seeking direction. Okay, let's move into section 1, the power of the pause. We're going to rethink executive momentum and look at how momentary stillness is actually a tactical advantage. Check out how it frames this tiny stop. Sometimes the smallest pause can open the door to a new perspective. Now, in high-performance cultures, a pause usually gets a bad rap, right? It's mischaracterized as a loss of momentum or hesitation. But the claim here is that this smallest pause is exactly what unlocks a new perspective. It's the mechanism you need to overcome executive tunnel vision. Because when you're hyper-focused on executing a plan, you absolutely develop blind spots. You miss alternative solutions, you might misread market shifts, and frankly, you exhaust your team. By strategically deploying a small pause, you're not stopping the machinery of your business. You're just zooming out. You're giving your mind the space to process complex information and synthesize a much clearer perspective that rapid-fire execution just doesn't allow for. The text points out that this strategic pause brings us 3 essential reminders. Let's look at these through a leadership lens. First up, trust yourself. This is all about getting back to your core competency and your gut instinct, which so often gets completely drowned out by endless data points and a million external opinions. Second, stay hopeful. Now, in leadership, hope is not passive wishing. It's the active cultivation of a vision. It's the unwavering belief that your strategic goals are attainable, which is absolutely crucial for team morale. And third, keep moving forward. Remember, the pause we're talking about is temporary. The whole point of regaining your perspective is to resume action. These 3 elements give you a really concise checklist to ensure that when you do move forward, you're doing it with total clarity. Moving on to section 2, seeking answers and direction. Let's navigate the executive path and that constant anxiety of wondering if we're making the right calls. So the crucial takeaway here is that slowing down isn't a weakness. It's an invitation. Let this be your invitation to slow down and reflect. It is a deliberate, totally necessary invitation for self-reflection that busy decision makers desperately need, but let's be honest, rarely give themselves. I want you to think of it as formally scheduling a meeting with your own strategic conscience. An invitation is something you choose to accept, right? By accepting this invitation to slow down, you're taking proactive control of your mental bandwidth. You're acknowledging the reality that constant output without reflection just leads to diminishing returns. And here's the payoff for accepting that invitation. You realize that every new day offers another opportunity to grow. This is such a vital mindset shift if you're carrying heavy responsibilities. It is so easy to feel weighed down by the cumulative errors or the sheer burden of past decisions. But this acts as a powerful reset button. It frames growth not as some distant annual performance review metric, but as a daily, renewable resource. If a strategy completely failed yesterday, Well, today's opportunity is to learn from it and grow. This daily reframing is what keeps leaders resilient, adaptable, and focused on incremental progress, rather than just being paralyzed by past missteps. All right, let's get into Section 3, Reframing Your Leadership Challenges. This is where we turn roadblocks into revelations and completely redefine how we look at adversity. As an executive, when a sudden crisis hits, say a massive supply chain failure, losing a major client, or a sudden economic downturn, your immediate, very human instinct is to view it as a challenge meant to stop you, a threat meant to halt your progress. But the text challenges us to completely flip that. What if this crisis is actually a challenge meant to reveal strengths you didn't even know you had? What if it's exactly the friction required to force your organization to innovate, to streamline, and to uncover hidden capacities within your team that a smooth ride would never, ever have revealed? Adopting this mindset is huge. It transforms a leader from being a victim of circumstance into an active student of adversity. Which brings us to Section 4, Sustaining Clarity and Growth. Let's look at the actual framework for endurance so you can navigate all these ongoing challenges without burning out. The text gives us this literal progressive sequence. It's 3 distinct, actionable steps for keeping your endurance up under intense pressure. Step 1, keep your heart open. Now, in business terms, this means maintaining your empathy. It means staying receptive to feedback and leading with high emotional intelligence. A closed-off, defensive leader is going to lose their team's trust fast. Step 2, keep your mind clear. This connects right back to the power of the pause we talked about earlier. You have to fiercely protect your mental clarity from the noise of the daily grind if you want to make sound decisions. And finally, step 3, keep taking one faithful step at a time. When the macroeconomic picture looks terrifying or the sheer volume of work is just overwhelming, you don't actually need to see the entire staircase. You really just need the clarity to execute the very next step with conviction and faith in your strategy. As we wrap up, the source material positions the Guided by 369 community as an ongoing resource to bring peace and encouragement, inspire reflection, cultivate hope, and deepen the connection with your journey. And for a high-performing leader, please don't view these as soft skills. You really need to frame these uplifting concepts as essential maintenance tools for your continuous growth. Think about it. Just as you would regularly service a high-performance engine, your leadership mindset requires regular, intentional recalibration. You need that reflection and encouragement to sustain top-tier output over the long haul. I want to leave you with this final, really provocative thought from the text. Your next moment of clarity could begin with the very next message. This is a challenge to remain entirely open to continuous learning. As a seasoned leader, it's so easy to trick yourself into believing you already have all the tools you'll ever need. But true executive clarity comes from the humble realization that a massive insight can come from literally anywhere at any time, often disguised as a very simple reminder to just stop, breathe, and reflect. So take this explainer as your prompt today. Step back, take that pause, because the real question is, what breakthrough strategy is your next moment of clarity about to reveal?